Sir, a letter.
I learn in this letter that Don Pedro of Aragon comes this night to Messina.
He is very near by this. He was 3 leagues off when I left him.
How many gentlemen have you lost in this action?
But few of any sort, and none of name.
A victory is twice itself when the achiever brings home full numbers. I find here that Don Pedro has bestowed much honor on a young Florentine named Claudio.
Much deserved on his part, and equally remembered by Don Pedro. He hath borne himself beyond the promise of his age, doing, in the figure of a lamb and the feats of a lion. He hath indeed bettered expectation, and you must expect of me to tell you how.
Hmm. He hath an uncle here in Messina. Will be very much glad of it.
I have already delivered him letters, and there appears much joy in him, even so much joy that cannot show itself modest enough without a badge of bitterness.
Did he break out into tears?
In great measure.
A kind overflow of kindness. There are no faces truer than those that are so washed. How much better it is to weep at joy than to joy at weeping.
I pray you, is Signor Montanto returned from the wars or no?
I know none of that name, lady. There was none such in the army of any sort.
What is he that you ask for, niece?
My cousin means Signor Benedict of Padua.
Oh, he's returned, and as pleasant as he ever was.
He set up his bills here in Messina challenging Cupid at the Flight, and my uncle's fool, reading the challenge, subscribed for Cupid and challenged him at the Bird Bolt. I pray you, how many hath he killed and eaten in these wars? But how many hath he killed? For indeed I promise to eat all of his killing.
Faith, niece, you tax Signor Benedict too much. But he'll be meat with you. I doubt it not.
He hath done good wars in these ladies.
You had musty victual, and he hath hope to eat it. He is a very valiant trencherman. He hath an excellent stomach.
And a good soldier too, lady.
And a good soldier to a lady. But what is he to a lord?
A lord to a lord, a man to a man, stuffed with all honorable virtues.
It is so indeed. He is no less than a stuffed man. But for the stuffing, well, we are all mortal.
You must not, sir, mistake my niece. There is a kind of merry war betwixt Signor Benedict and her. They never meet, but a skirmish of wit between them.
Alas, he gets nothing by that. In our last conflict, 4 of his 5 wits went halting off, and now is the whole man governed with 1. So that if he have wit enough to keep himself warm, let him bear it for a difference between himself and his horse. For it is all the wealth that he hath left to be known a reasonable creature. Who's his companion now? He hath every month a new sworn brother.
Is it possible?
Very easily possible. He wears his faith but as the fashion of his cap. It ever changes with the next block.
I see, lady. The gentleman is not in your books.
No, any were I would burn my study. But I pray you, who is his companion? Is there no young squire now that will make a voyage with him to the devil?
He is most in the company of the right noble Claudio.
Oh Lord, he will hang upon him like a disease. He is sooner caught than the pestilence, and the taker runs presently mad. God help the noble Claudio. If he have caught the Benedict, it'll cost him £1,000 ere it be cured.
I will hold friends with you, lady.
Do, good friend.
You will never run mad, niece.
No, not till a hot January.
Don Pedro is approached.
Good Signor Leonato, you have come to meet your trouble. The fashion of the world is to avoid cost, and you encounter it.
Never came trouble to my house in the likenesses of your grace. For trouble being gone, comfort should remain. But when you depart from me, sorrow abides, and happiness takes his leave.
You embrace your charge too willingly. I think this is your daughter.
Her mother hath many times told me so.
Were you in doubt, sir, that you asked her?
Signor Benedict, no. For then you were a child.
You have it full, Benedict. We may guess by this what you are, being a man. Truly, the lady fathers herself. Be happy, lady, for you are like an honorable father.
If Senor Leonato be her father, she would not have his head on his shoulders for all Messina, as like him as she is.
I wonder that you still be talking, Signor Benedict. Nobody marks you.
What? My dear Lady Disdain, are you yet living?
Is it possible Disdain should die while she hath such meet food to feed it as Signor Benedick? Courtesy itself must convert to disdain if you come in her presence.
Then courtesy is your turncoat. For it is certain I am loved of all ladies, only you excepted. And I would I could find in my heart that I had not a hard heart, for truly I love none.
A dear happiness to women. They would else have been troubled with a pernicious suitor. I thank God in my cold blood I am of your humor for that. I'd rather hear my dog bark at a crow than a man swear he loves me.
Keep your ladyship still in that mind, so some gentleman or other shall scape a predestinate scratched face.
The scratching could not make it worse, and were such a face as yours were.
Well, you are a rare parrot teacher.
A bird of my tongue is better than a beast of yours.
I would my horse had the speed of your tongue, and so good a continuum. But keep your way. In God's name I have done.
You always end with a jade's trick. I know you of old.
That is the sum of all, Leonato. Signor Claudio and Signor Benedick, my dear friend Leonato hath invited you all. I tell him we shall stay here at least a month, and he heartily prays some occasion may detain us longer. I dare swear he is no hypocrite, but prays from the heart.
You swear, my lord, you shall not be forsworn. Let me bid you welcome, my lord. Being reconciled, the prince your brother, I owe you all duty.
I thank you. I'm not of many words, but I thank you.
Please at your grace lead on.
Your hand, Leonato. We will go together.
Benedick, didst thou know the daughter of Signor Leonato?
I noted her not, but I looked on her.
Is she not a modest young lady?
Do you question me as an honest man should, for my simple true judgment? Would you have me speak after my custom, as a professed tyrant to their sex?
No, I pray thee speak on sober judgment.
Why, in faith, methinks she is too low for a high praise, too brown for a fair praise, and too little for a great praise. Only this commendation I can afford her. And being other than she is, she were unhandsome. And being no other than she is, I do not like her.
Thou thinkest I am in sport. I pray thee, tell me how thou truly likest her.
Do you inquire her that you buy after her?
Can the world buy such a jewel?
Yea, and a case to put it into. But speak you this for the sad brow? Or do you play the flouting jack to tell us Cupid is a rare hair finder and Vulcan a rare carpenter? Come, in what key shall a man take you to sing in this song?
In mine eyes, she's the sweetest lady that ever I looked on.
I see yet without spectacles, and I see no such matter. There is her cousin, she were not possessed in her fury, and sees her much in beauty as the 1st of May doth the last of December. But I hope you have no intent to turn husband, have you?
I would scarce trust myself, though I had sworn the contrary if Hero would be my wife.
Is it come to this? Hath not the world one man who wear his cap with suspicion? Shall I never see a bachelor of 80 again? Go to in faith, thrust thy neck into a yoke, wear the print of it and sigh away Sundays. Look, Don Pedro has returned to seek you.
What secret hath held you here that you followed not Leonato's?
I would your grace would constrain me to tell.
I charge thee on thy allegiance.
You hear, Count Claudio, I can be secret as a dumb man. I would have you think so. But on my allegiance, mark you this, on my allegiance. He's in love. With who? There is your grace's card. Mark how short his answer is. With Hero, Leonato's short daughter.
If this were so, so it were uttered.
Like the old tale, my lord. It is not so, nor 'twas not so. But indeed, God forbid it should be so.
My passion changed not shortly. God forbid it should be otherwise.
Amen, if you love her, for the lady is very well worthy.
You speak this to fetch me in, my lord.
By my troth, I speak my thought.
And in faith, my lord, I spoke mine.
And by my two-faced and troth, my lord, I spoke mine.
That I love her, I feel.
That she's worthy, I know.
That I neither feel how she should be loved or know how she should be worthy. Is it the opinion that fire cannot melt out of me? I will die in it at the stake.
Thou wast an obstinate heretic in the despite of beauty.
Never could maintain his part, but in the force of his will.
That woman conceived me, I thank her. That she brought me up, I likewise give her the most humble thanks. But that I reach heat winded in my forehead, or hang my bugle in invisible baldric, all women shall pardon me, because I will not do them the wrong to mistrust any. I will not do myself the right to trust none. And the fine is, for which I may go the finer, I will live a bachelor.
I shall see thee ere I die, look pale with love.
With anger, with sickness, or with hunger, my lord, not with love. Prove that ever I lose more blood with love than I will get again with drinking. Pluck out mine eyes with a ballad maker's pen, and place me up to the door of a brothel house to signify the blind Cupid.
Well, if ever thou dost fall from this faith, thou wilt prove a notable argument.
If I do, hang me in a bottle like a cat and shoot at me. And he that hits me, let him be clapped on the shoulder and called Adam.
Well, as time shall try, in time the savage bull doth bear the yoke.
The savage bull may, but if ever the sensible Benedict bear it, pluck off the bull's horn and place them in my forehead. And let me be vilely painted, in such great letters as, here is good horse to hire. And let them signify under my sign, here you may see Benedict, the married man.
This should ever happen, thou wouldst be horn man.
Nay, if Cupid have not spent all his quiver in Venice, thou wilt quake for this shortly.
I look for an earthquake too then.
Well, you temporize with the hours. In the meantime, good Signor Benedick, repair to Leonatus, commend me to him, and tell him I will not fail him at supper, for indeed he hath made a great preparation.
I have almost a matter enough in me for such an ambassage, and so I commit you.
The tuition of God from my house, if I had it.
The 6th of July, your loving friend, Benedick.
Nay, mock not, mock not. The body of our discourse is sometimes guarded with fragments. Guards are but slightly based on neither. Ere you flout old ends any further, examine your conscience, and so I leave you.
Didst thou hear something? My liege, your highness may now do me good.
My love is thine to teach. Teach it but how, and thou shalt see how apt it is to learn any hard lesson that may do thee good.
Hath Leonato any son, my lord?
No child but Hero. She is his only heir. Dost thou affect her, Claudio?
Oh, my lord. But when you went onward on this ended action, I looked upon her with a soldier's eye, that liked, but had a rougher task in hand than to drive liking into the name of love. But now I'm returned, and that war thoughts have left their places vacant. In their rooms come thronging soft and delicate desires, all prompting me how fair young Hero is, saying, I liked her, ere I went to wars.
Thou wilt be like a lover presently, and tire the hero with a book of words. If thou dost love fair Hero, cherish it. And I will break with her and with her father, and thou shalt have her. Was not to descend that thou beganst to twist so fine a story.
How sweetly you do minister love, that to know love's grief by his complexion, but lest my liking might too sudden seem, I would have salved it for a longer treatise.
What need the bridge much broader than the flood? The fairest grant is the necessity. Look, what will serve is fit. 'Tis once thou lovest, and I will fit thee with the remedy. I know we shall have revelling tonight. I will assume thy part in some disguise, and tell fair Hero I am Claudio, and in her bosom I'll unclasp my heart, and take her hearing prisoner with the force and strong encounter of my amorous tale. Then after, to her father I will break, and the conclusion is, she shall be thine. In practice, let us put it presently.
How now, brother? Where is my cousin, your son? Has he provided this music?
He is very busy about it, but brother, I can tell you strange news that you yet dreamt not of.
Are they good?
As the event stamps them, but they have a good cover, they show well outward. The Prince and Count Claudio, walking in a thick pleached alley in mine orchard, were thus much overheard by a man of mine. the prince, discovered to Claudio that he loved my niece, your daughter, and meant to acknowledge it this night in a dance. And, if he found her accordant, he meant to take the present time by the top and instantly break with you of it.
Hath the fellow any wit that told you this?
A good sharp fellow. I will send for him and question him yourself.
No. We will hold it as a dream till it appear itself. But I will acquaint my daughter withal, that she may be better prepared for an answer. If her adventure this time be true, go you and tell her of it. Cousins, you know what to do. Oh, I cry your mercy, friend. Go you and with me, and I will use your skill. Good cousin, take a care of this good time.
What the good year, my lord? Why are you thus out of measure sad?
There is no measure in the occasion that breeds. Therefore, the sadness is without limit.
You should hear reason.
And when I have heard it, what blessing bring it?
If not a pleasant remedy, at least a patient sufferance.
I wonder that thou, being, as thou sayest thou art, born under Saturn, goest about to apply a moral medicine to a mortifying mischief. I cannot hide what I am. I must be sad when I have cause, and smile at no man's jests. Eat when I have stomach, and wait for no man's leisure. Sleep when I am drowsy, and tend on no man's business. Laugh when I am merry, and claw no man in his humor.
Yea, but you must not make the full show of this till you can do it without controlment. You have of late stood against your brother, and he hath taken you newly into his grace, where it is impossible you should take true root, but by the fair weather that you make of yourself, it is needful that you frame the season for your own harvest.
I had rather be a canker in a hedge than a rose in his grace. And it better fits my blood to be disdained of all than to fashion a carriage to rob love from any. In this, though I cannot be said to be a flattering, honest man, it must not be denied, but I am a plain-dealing villain. I am trusted with a muzzle and enfranchised with a clog. Therefore, I have decreed not to sing in my cage. If I had my mouth, I would bite. If I had my liberty, I would do my liking. In the meantime, let me be that I am, and seek not to alter me.
Can you make no use of your discontent?
I make all use of it, for I use it only. Who comes here? What news, Baraccio?
I came yonder for a great supper. The prince, your brother, is royally entertained by Leonato, and I can give you intelligence of an intended marriage.
Will it serve for any model to build mischief on? What is he, for a fool that betroths himself to unquietness?
Mary, and your brother's right hand.
Who? The most exquisite Claudio.
Even he.
Huh. A proper squire. And who? Which way looks he?
Mary, on Hugo, the daughter and heir of Leonato.
A very forward march chick. How came you to this?
Being entertained for me. As I was smoking a musty room, comes me the prince and Claudio, hand in hand in sad conference. I went me behind the arras, and there heard it agreed upon that the prince should woo her for himself, and having obtained her, give her to Count Claudio.
Come, let us thither. This may prove food to my displeasure. That young startup hath all the glory of my overthrow. If I can cross him any way, I bless myself every way. You are both sure and will assist me?
To the death, my lord.
Let us to the great supper. Their cheer is the greater that I am subdued. Would the cook were of my mind. Shall we go prove what's to be done?
We'll wait upon your lord.
Was Don John here at supper?
I saw him not.
Partly that gentleman looks. I can never see him, but I am heartburned an hour after.
He is of a very melancholy disposition.
You were an excellent man that were made just in the midway between him and Benedick. The one is too like an image and says nothing, and the other too like my lady's eldest son, evermore tattling.
Then half Signor Benedick's tongue in Don John's mouth, and half Don John's melancholy in Signor Benedick's face.
With a good leg and a good foot, uncle, and money enough in his purse, such a man would win any woman in the world if it could get her good will.
By my troth, niece, thou wilt never get thee a husband, if thou so shrewd of thy tongue.
In faith, she's too cursed.
Too cursed is more than cursed. I shall lessen God's sending that way. For it is said God sends a cursed cow short horns, but to a cow too cursed he sends none.
So, by being too cursed, God will send you no horns.
Just, if he send me no husband, for the which blessing I am at him upon my knees every morning and evening. Lord, I could not endure a husband with a beard on his face. I'd rather lie in the woolen.
You may light on a husband that hath no beard.
What should I do with him? Dress him in my apparel and make him my waiting gentlewoman? He that hath a beard is more than a youth, and he that hath no beard is less than a man. And he that is more than a youth is not for me, and he that is less than a man, I am not for him. Therefore I will even take sixpence in earnest of the bear ward, and lead his apes into hell.
Well then, go you into hell.
No, but to the gate, and there will the devil meet me like an old cuckold with horns on his head, and say, Get you to heaven, Beatrice, get you to heaven. Here's no place for you maids. So deliver I up my apes, and away to St. Peter for the heavens. He shows me where the bachelors sit, and there live we, as merry as the day is long.
Well, niece, I trust you'll be ruled by your father.
Yes, faith, it is my cousin's duty to make curtsy and say, Father, as it please you. And yet for all that, cousin, let him be a handsome fellow, or else make another curtsy and say, Father, as it please me.
Well, niece, I hope you one day see fitted with a husband.
Not till God make men of some other metal than earth. Would it not grieve a woman to be overmastered with a piece of valiant dust, to make an account of her life to a clod of wayward marl? No, uncle, I'll none. Adam's sons are my brethren, and truly I hold it a sin to match in my kindred.
Daughter, remember what I told you. If the prince do solicit you in that kind, you know your answer.
The fault will be in the music, cousin, if you be not wooed in good time. If the prince be too important, tell him there is measure in everything, and so dance out the answer. For, hear me, hero, wooing, wedding, and repenting is as a Scotch jig, a measure, and a syncopace. The first suit is hot and hasty, like a Scotch jig, and full as fantastical. The wedding, mannerly modest as a measure, and full of state and ancientry. And then comes repentance, and with his bad legs falls into the syncopace faster and faster until he sink into his grave.
Cousin, you apprehend passing shrewdly.
I have a good eye, uncle. I can see a church by daylight.
The revelers are coming, brother. Make good room.
Lady, will you walk about with your friend?
So you walk softly and look sweetly and say nothing. I am yours for the walk, and especially when I walk away.
With me in your company.
I may say so, when I please.
And when please you to say so?
When I like your favor, for God defend the loot should be like the case.
My visor is Philemon's roof. Within the house is Jove.
Why then, your visor should be thatched.
Speak low if you speak low.
Well, I would you did like me.
Would not I? For your own sake, I have many ill qualities.
Which is one?
I say my prayers aloud.
I love you the better. The hearers may cry. Amen.
God snatch me with a good dancer.
Amen.
And God keep him out of my sight when the dance is done. Answer, clerk?
No more words. The clerk has answered.
I know you well enough. You are Signor Antonio.
At a word.
I know you by the waggling of your head.
To tell you the truth, I found her.
You could never do him so ill well unless you were the very man. Here's his dry hand up and down. You are he, you are he.
At a word.
Come, do you think I do not know you by your excellent wit? Can virtue hide itself? Go to mum, you are he. Graces will appear, and there's an end.
Will you not tell me who told you so?
No, you shall pardon me.
Nor will you not tell me who you are?
Not now.
That I was disdainful and that I had my good wit out the 100 merry tales? Why, this was Signor Benedict that said so.
What is he?
I'm sure you know him well enough.
Not I, believe me.
Did he ever make you laugh?
I pray you, what is he?
Why, he's the prince's jester. A very dull fool. Only his gift is in devising impossible slanders. None but libertines delight in him, and their commendation is not in his wit, but in his villainy. For he both pleases men and angers them, and then they laugh at him and beat him. I'm sure he's in the fleet. I would he had boarded me.
When I know this gentleman, I'll tell him what you say.
Do. He'll but break a comparison or two on me, and which, peradventure, not marked or not laughed at, strikes him into melancholy. And then there's a partridge wing saved, for the fool will eat no supper that night. We must follow the leaders.
Every good thing.
Nay, if they lead to any ill, I will leave them at the next turning.
Sure, my brother is amorous on Hero, and hath withdrawn her father to break with him about it. The ladies follow her, and but one visor remains.
And that is Claudio. I know him by his bearing.
Are not you Signor Benedict?
You know me well. I am he.
Signor, you are very near my brother in his love. He is enamored on Hero. I pray you, dissuade him of her. She is no equal for his birth. You may do the part of an honest man in it.
How know you he loves her?
I heard him swear his affection.
So did I too. And he swore he would marry her tonight.
Come, let us to the banquet.
Thus answer I in the name of Benedict. But hear these ill news with the ears of Claudio. 'Tis certain so, the prince woos for himself. Friendship is constant in all things, save in the office of affairs of love. Therefore, all hearts in love use their own tongues. Let every eye negotiate for itself, and trust no agent. For beauty is a witch against whose charms faith melteth into blood. This is an accident of hourly proof, which I misunderstood not. Farewell, therefore, Hero.
Count Claudio?
Yea, the same.
Come, will you go with me?
Whither?
Even to the next willow, about your business, County. What will you wear the garland of? About your neck like an usher's chain, or under your arm like the lieutenant's scarf? For you must wear it one way, for the prince hath got your Hero.
I wish him the joy of her.
What's spoken like an honest drover? So they spell bullocks. Did you think the prince would have served you thus?
I pray you, leave me.
Oh, now you strike like the blind man. 'Twas the boy that stole your meat, and now you'll beat the post.
If it will not be, I'll leave you.
Alas, poor herd fowl. Now he'll creep into sedges. That my lady Beatrice should know me, and not know me. The prince's fool? Ha! Yea, maybe I go into that title because I am married, but so am apt to do myself wrong. I'm not so reputed. It is the base, though bitter disposition of Beatrice. that puts the world in her person and gives me out. Well, I'll be revenged as I may.
Now, Signor, where's the Count? Did you see him?
Troth, my lord. I played the part of Lady Fame. I found him here sitting as melancholy as a log in a warren. I told him, and I think I told him true, that you had got the grace of his good young lady, and I offered him my company to a willow tree, either to make a garland, or as being forsaken, or to bind him up as a rod, as being worthy to be whipped.
To be whipped? What is his fault?
The flat transgression of a schoolboy, who, being overjoyed with finding a bird's nest, shows it to his companion, and he steals it.
Wilt thou trust transgression? The transgression is in the stealer.
It had not been amiss. The rod had been made, and the garland too. For the garland he might have worn himself, and the rod he might have bestowed on you, who, as I take it, have stolen his bird's nest.
I will but teach them to sing and restore them to the owner.
If their singing answer your saying, by my faith you say honestly.
The Lady Beatrice hath a quarrel to you. The gentleman that danced with her told her she is much wronged by you.
Oh, she misused me past the endurance of a block. But with one green leaf would have answered her. My very visor began to assume life and scold with her. She told me, not thinking I had been myself, that I was the prince's jester, that I was duller than a great thaw. Huddling jest upon jest with such impossible conveyance upon me that I stood like a man at a mark with a whole army shooting at me. She speaks poniards and every word stabs. If her breath were as terrible as her terminations, there would be no living near her. She would infect in the North Star. I would not marry her, though she were endowed with all Adam bad left behind before he transgressed. She would have made Hercules turn spit, yea, and cleft his club into the fire too. Come, talk not of her. You shall find her the feral Ate in good apparel. I would to God some scholar would conjure her. For certainly while she is here, man may live as quiet in hell as in a sanctuary. And people sin upon purpose, because they would go thither, so indeed all this quiet horror and perturbation follows her.
Look, here she comes.
Will your grace command me any service to the world's end? I will go on the slightest errand now to the Antipodes that you can devise to send me on. I will fetch you a toothpicker from the furthest inch of Asia. Fetch you the length of Preston John's foot. Fetch you a hair off the great champ's beard. Do you any embassage to the Pygmies, rather than hold 3 words conference with this harpy. You have no employment for me?
None, but to desire your good company.
God, sir, here's a dish I love not. I cannot endure my lady tongue.
Come, lady, come. You have lost the heart of Signor Benedick.
Indeed, my lord. He lent it me a while, and I gave him use for it, a double heart for a single one. Marry, once he won it of me with false dice. Therefore your grace may well say I have lost it.
You've put him down, lady. You've put him down.
So I would not he should do me, my lord, lest I should prove the mother of fools. I have brought you Count Claudio, whom you sent me to seek.
Why, how now, Count? Wherefore are you sad?
Not sad, my lord.
How then, sick?
Neither, my lord.
The Count is neither sad nor sick, nor merry nor well, but civil Count, civil as an orange, and something of that jealous complexion.
In faith, fair lady, I think your blazon be true. Though I'll be sworn, if he be so, his conceit is false. Here, Claudio, I have wooed in thy name, and fair hero is won. I have broke with her father, and his goodwill obtained. But name the day of the marriage, and God give thee joy.
Count, take of me my daughter, and with her my fortunes. His grace hath made the match, and a grace say amen to it.
Speak, Count, 'tis your cue.
Silence is the perfectest herald of joy. I were but little happy, if I could say how much. Lady, as you are mine, I am yours. I give away myself to you and dote upon the exchange.
Speak, cousin, or if you cannot, stop his mouth with a kiss, and let him not speak neither.
In faith, lady, you have a merry heart.
Yea, my lord, I thank it, poor fool, it keeps on the windy side of care. My cousin tells him in his ear that he is in her heart.
And so she doth, cousin.
Good lord for alliance. Thus goes every one to the world but I, and I am sunburnt. I may sit in a corner and cry hi-ho for a husband.
Lady Beatrice, I will get you one.
I would rather have one of your father's getting. Hath your grace ne'er brother like you? Your father got excellent husbands, if a maid could come by them.
Will you have me, lady?
No, my lord, unless I might have another for working days. Your grace is too costly to wear every day. But I beseech your grace pardon me, I was born to speak all mirth and no matter.
Your silence most offends me, and to be merry best becomes you, for out of question you were born in a merry hour.
No, sure, my lord, my mother cried. But then there was a star dance, and under that was I born. Cousins, God give you joy.
Niece, will you look to those things I told you of?
I cry you mercy, uncle. By your grace's pardon.
By my troth, a pleasant-spirited lady.
There's little of the melancholy element in her, my lord. She is never sad but when she sleeps, and not ever sad then. For I have heard my daughter say she hath often dreamed of unhappiness, and waked herself with laughing.
She cannot endure to hear tell of a husband.
Oh, by no means. She mocks all wooers out of suit.
She were an excellent wife for Benedick.
Oh, my lord, my lord. If they were but a week married, they would talk themselves mad.
Count Claudio, when mean you to go to church?
Tomorrow, my lord. Time goes on crutches till love have all his rights.
Not till Monday, my dear son, which is hence a seventh night, and time too brief, too, to have all things answer my mind.
Come, you shake the head so long a breathing, but I warrant thee, Claudio, the time shall not go dully by us. In the interim, I'll undertake one of Hercules' labors, which is to bring Signor Benedick and the Lady Beatrice into a mountain of affection, the one with the other. I would fain to have it matched, and do not doubt but to fashion it, if you three will but minister such assistance as I shall give you direction.
My lord, I am here for you, though it cost me 10 nights' watchings.
And I, my lord.
And you too, gentle hero?
I will do any modest office, my lord, to help my cousin to a good husband.
And Benedick is not the unhopefullest husband that I know. Thus far I can praise him. He is of a noble strain, approved valor, and confirmed honesty. I will teach you how to humor your cousin, that she shall fall in love with Benedick. And I, with your two helps, will so practice on Benedick that in despite of his quick wit and queasy stomach, he shall fall in love with Beatrice. If we can do this, Cupid is no longer an archer. His glory shall be ours, for
It is so. The Count Claudio shall marry the daughter of Leonato.
Yea, my lord, but I can cross it.
Any bar, any cross, any impediment will be medicinable to me. I am sick in displeasure to him, and whatsoever comes athwart his affection ranges evenly with mine. How canst thou cross this marriage?
Not honestly, my lord, but so covertly that no dishonesty shall appear in me.
Show me briefly how.
I think I told your lordship a year since how much I am in the favor of Margaret, the waiting gentlewoman's hero.
I remember.
I can, at any unseasonable instant of the night, appoint her to look at her lady's chamber window.
What life is in that to be the death of this marriage?
The poison that lies in you to temper. Go you to the prince, your brother. Spare not tell him that he hath wronged his honor in marrying the renowned Claudio, whose estimation do you mightily hold up to a contaminated stale, such a one as Hero.
What proof shall I make of that?
Proof enough to misuse the prince, to vex Claudio, to undo Hero, and kill Leonato. Look you for any other issue?
Only to despite them, I will endeavor anything.
Go then. Find me a meet hour to draw Don Pedro and the Count Claudio alone. Tell them that you know that Hero loves me. Intend a kind of zeal both the prince and Claudio, as in love of your brother's honor, who hath made this match, and his friend's reputation, who is thus like to be cozened with the semblance of a maid, that you have discovered thus. They will scarcely believe this without trial. Offer them instances, which shall bear no less likelihood than to see me at her chamber window. Hear me call Margaret Hero, hear Margaret term me Claudio, and bring them to see this the very night before the intended wedding. For in the meantime, I will so fashion the matter that Hero shall be absent, and that there shall appear such seeming truth of Hero's loyalty, that jealousy shall be called assurance, and all the preparation overthrown.
Grow this to what adverse issue it can. I will put it in practice. Be cunning in the working this. And thy fee is 1,000 ducats.
Be you constant in the accusation, and my cunning shall not shame me.
I shall presently go learn the day of their marriage.
Come, shall we hear this music?
Yea, my good lord. How still the evening is.
See you where Benedict hath hid himself.
Oh, very well, my lord. The music ended. We'll fit the kid fox for the pennyworth.
Come, Balthazar, we'll hear that song again.
Oh, good my lord, tax not so bad a voice to slander music any more than once.
It is the witness still of excellency to put a strange face on his own perfection. I pray thee, sing, and let me woo no more.
Because you talk of wooing, I will sing. Since many a wooer doth commence his suit, to her he thinks not worthy, yet he woos. Yet will he swear he loves?
No, pray thee, come. Or if thou wilt hold longer argument, do it in notes.
Note this before my notes. There is not a note of mine that's worth the noting.
Why, these are very grave shades that he speaks. Note, notes, forsooth, and noting.
No divine air, now is soul ravished. It is not strange that sheep's guts should hail souls of bodies men. Well, a horn for my money, when all's done.
Sigh no more, ladies, sigh no more. Men were deceivers ever. 1 foot in sea and 1 on shore. To one thing, constant never. Then sigh not so, but let them go. And be you blithe and bonny, converting all your sounds of woe into hey nonny nonny. Sing no more, ditties, sing no more of dumps so dull and heavy. The fraud of men was ever so, since summer first was leafy. Then sigh not so, but let them go, and be you blithe and bonny, converting all your sounds of woe into hey nonny nonny.
By my troth, a good song.
And an ill singer, my lord.
No, faith, thou singest well enough for a shift.
He had been a dog that would have howled thus, they would have hanged him. My praise, bad voice, bad no mischief. I had a leaf have heard the night raven. Come, what plague could have come after it?
Yea, marry dost thou hear, Balthazar? I pray thee, get us some excellent music, for tomorrow night we'll have it at the Lady Hero's chamber window.
The best I can, my lord.
Do so. Farewell. Come hither, Leonato. What was it that you told me today? That your niece Beatrice was in love with Signor Benedict?
Oh, aye, stalk on, stalk on. The foul sits. I did never think that lady would have loved any man.
No, nor I neither. But most wonderful that she should dote on Signor Benedict, whom she hath in all outward behaviors seemed ever to abhor.
Is it possible? Sits the wind in that corner?
By my troth, my lord, I cannot tell which to think of it, but that she loves him with an enraged affection, It is by the past, the infinite of thought.
Maybe she doth but counterfeit.
Faith, like enough.
Oh God, counterfeit. There was never counterfeit of passions. He came so near to the life of passion as she discovers it.
Why? What effects of passion shows she?
Bait the hook well, this fish will bite.
What effects, my lord? She will sit with you. You heard my daughter tell you how.
She did indeed.
How, pray you? You amaze me. I would have I thought her spirit been invincible against all assaults of affection.
I would have sworn it had, my lord, especially against Benedict.
I think this a gull. If that white-bearded fellow speaks it, cannot sure hide itself in such reverence.
You have taken the affection. Hold it up.
Hath she made her affection known to Benedict?
No, and she swears she never will. That's her torment.
'Tis true, indeed. So your daughter says. Shall I, says she, that have so often countered him with scorn, write to him that I love him?
This says she now was the beginning to write to him. For she'll I up 20 times a night, and there she will sit in her smock till she have writ a sheet of paper. My daughter tells us all.
Now you talk of a sheet of paper. I remember a pretty jest your daughter told us of.
When she had writ of it and reading it was over, she had found Benedict and Beatrice between the sheet.
That.
Oh, she tore the letter into 1,000 halfpence, railed at herself. She so immodest to write it to one that she would be flout her. I measure him, she says. By my own spirit, I should flout him if he writ to me. Yeah, I thought I love him, I should.
And down upon her knees she falls, weeps, sobs, beats her heart, tears her hair, prays, curses. Oh, sweet Benedict, God give me patience.
She doth indeed. My daughter says so. And the ecstasy hath so much overborne that my daughter is sometimes afeard she will do desperate outrage to herself. It is very true.
It were good that Benedict knew of it by some other, if she will not discover it.
What end? He would make but a sport of it and torment the poor lady worse.
And he should, were it an alms to hang him. She is an excellent, sweet lady, and out of all suspicion she is virtuous.
And she is exceeding wise.
In everything but in loving Benedict.
Oh, my lord, wisdom and blood combating in so tender a body, we have 10 proofs to the one that bluff hath. Oh, my lord, wisdom and blood combating in so tender a body, we have 10 proofs to one that bluff hath a victory. I am sorry for her, as I have just cause, being her uncle and her guardian.
I would she had bestowed this dotage on me. I would have daffed all other expectations and made her half myself. I pray you tell Benedict of it, and hear what it will say.
Very good, think you.
Hero thinks surely she will die, for she says she will die, if he love her not, and she will die ere she make her love known, and she will die if he woo her, and rather than she bate one breath of her accustomed crossness.
She doth well. If she should make tender of her love, 'tis very possible he'll scorn it. For the man, as you all know, hath a contemptible spirit.
He's a very proper man.
He hath indeed a good outward happiness.
Before God, and in my mind, very wise.
He doth indeed show some sparks that are like wit.
I take him to be valiant.
As Hector, I assure you. And in the managing of quarrels, you may say he is wise, for either he avoids them with great discretion or undertakes them with a most Christian-like fear.
If he do fear God, I must necessarily keep peace. If he break the peace, he ought to enter into a quarrel with fear and trembling.
And so will he do, for the man doth fear God, howsoever it seems not in him by some large jests he will make. Well, I am sorry for your niece. Shall we go seek Benedict and tell him of her love?
No, never tell him, my lord. Let her wear it out with good counsel.
Nay, that's impossible. She may wear her heart out first.
Well, we will hear further of it by your daughter. Let it cool the while. I love Benedict well, and I could wish he would so modestly examine himself as to see how much he is unworthy so good a lady.
My lord, will you walk? Dinner is ready.
If you do not dote on her upon this, I will never trust my expectation.
Let there be the same net spread for her, and that must your daughter and her gentlewoman carry. The sport will be when they hold one opinion of the other's dotage, and no such matter. That's the scene I would see, which will be merely a dumb show. Let us enter into it.
This can be no trick. The conference was sadly born. Yet the truth of this from Hero. They seem to pity the lady. It seems her affections have their full bent. Love me. Why, it must be requited. I hear now no censure. This I will bear myself proudly, if I perceive the love come from her. They say too that she will rather die than give any sign of affection. I did never think to marry. Must not seem proud. Happy are they that hear these attractions and can put them to mending. They say the lady is fair, 'tis the truth, I can bear them witness. And virtuous, 'tis so, I cannot reprove it, and wise, but for loving me. By my troth, it is no addition to her wit, nor no great argument to her folly. For I will horribly fall in love with her. I may chance to have some odd quirks and remnants of wit broken on me, because I have railed so long against marriage, but doth not the appetite change? A man loves the meat in his youth, and cannot endure it at his age. Shall quips and sentences and these paper bullets of the brain awe a man in a career of humor? No, the world must be peopled. When I said I would die a bachelor, I did not think I should live till I were married. Here comes Beatrice. By this day she's a fair lady. I do spy some marks of love in her.
Against my will, I am sent to bid you come into dinner.
Fair Beatrice, I thank you for your pains.
I took no more pains for those thanks than you take pains to thank me. If it had been painful, I would not have come.
You take pleasure then in this message?
Yea, just so much as you may take upon a knife's point and choke a daw withal. You have no stomach, senor? Fare you well.
Against my will, I am sent to bid you come to dinner. There's a double meaning in that. I took no more pains for those thanks that you took to thank me. That's such as to say, any pains that I take for you are easy as thanks. I do not take pity of her. I am a villain. If I do not love her, I am a snake. I will go get her picture.
Good, Ursula. Run thee to the parlor. There thou shalt find my cousin Beatrice proposing with the prince and Claudio. Whisper her ear and tell her I and Margaret walk in the orchard and our whole discourse is all of her. Say that thou overheardst us, and bid her steal into the pleached bower, where honeysuckles ripened by the sun forbid the sun to enter, like favorites made proud by princes that advance their pride against the power that bred it. There she will hide her to listen our purpose. This is thy office. Bear thee well in it, and leave us alone.
I'll make her come, I warrant you presently.
Now, Margaret, when Beatrice doth come, as we do trace this alley up and down, our talk must be only of Benedick. When I do name him, let it be thy part to praise him more than ever man did merit. My talk to thee must be how Benedick is sick in love with Beatrice. Of this matter is little Cupid's crafty arrow made that only wounds by hearsay. Now begin, for look where Beatrice like a lapwing runs close by the ground to hear our conference.
The pleasantest angling is to see the fish cut with her golden oars the silver stream and greedily devour the treacherous bait. So angle we for Beatrice, who even now is couched in the woodbine coverture. Fear you not my part in the dialogue.
And go we near her, that her ear lose nothing of the false sweet bait we lay for it. No, truly, Margaret, she is too disdainful. I know her spirits are as coy and wild as haggards of the rock.
But are you sure that Benedick loves Beatrice so entirely?
So says the prince and my new troth lord.
And did they bid you tell her of it, madam?
They did entreat me to acquaint her of it. But I persuaded them, if they loved Benedick, to wish him wrestle with affection, and never let Beatrice know of it.
Why did you so? Doth not the gentleman deserve as full, as fortunate a bed as ever Beatrice shall couch upon?
Oh, God of love! I know he doth deserve as much as may be yielded to a man, but nature never framed a woman's heart of prouder stuff than that of Beatrice. Disdain and scorn ride sparkling in her eyes, misprizing what they look on, and her wit values itself so highly that to her all matter else seems weak. She cannot love, nor take no shape, nor project of affection. She is so self-endeared.
Sure, I think so, and therefore certainly it were not good she knew of his love, lest she make sport at it.
Why, you speak truth. I never yet saw a man how wise, how noble, young, how rarely featured, but she would spell him backward. If fair-faced, she would swear the gentleman should be her sister. If black, why, nature drawing of an antique made a foul blot. If tall, a lance ill-headed. If low, an agate very vilely cut. If speaking, why a vein blown with all winds. If silent, why a block moved with none. So turns she every man the wrong side out, and never gives to truth and virtue that which simpleness and merit purchaseth.
Sure, such carping is not commendable.
No, not to be so odd, and from all fashions as Beatrice is, cannot be commendable. But who dare tell her so? If I should speak, she would mock me into air. She would laugh me out of myself, press me to death with wit. Therefore let Benedick, like covered fire, consume away in sighs, waste inwardly. It were a better death than die with mocks, which is as bad as die with tickling.
Yet tell her up, what she will say.
No, rather I will go to Benedick, and counsel him to fight against his passion. And truly, I'll devise some honest slanders to stain my cousin with. One doth not know how much an ill word may poison liking.
Oh, do not do your cousin such a wrong. She cannot be so much without your judgment, having so swift and excellent a wit as she is prized to have, as to refuse so rare a gentleman as Signor Benedick.
He is the best man of Italy, always accepted, my dear Claudio.
I pray you, be not angry with me, madam, speaking my fancy. Signor Benedick, for shape, for bearing, argument, and valor, goes foremost in report out.
Indeed, he hath an excellent good name.
His excellence did earn it ere he had it. When are you married, madam?
Why, every day tomorrow. Come, go in. I'll show thee some attires, and have thy counsel which is best to furnish me tomorrow.
She's limed, I warrant you. We've got her, madam.
If it proves so, then loving goes perhaps. Some Cupid kills with arrows, some like traps.
What fire is in mine ears? Can this be true? Stand I condemned for pride and scorn so much? Contempt, farewell, and maiden pride, adieu. No glory lives behind the back of such. And Benedick, love on. I will requite thee, taming my wild heart to thy loving hand. If thou dost love, my kindness shall incite thee to bind our loves up in a holy band. For others say thou dost deserve, and I believe it better than reportingly.
I do but stay till your marriage be consummate, then goes I towards Aragon.
I'll bring you thither, my lord, if you'll vouchsafe me.
Nay, that would be as great a soil in the new gloss of your marriage as to show a child his newt and forbid him to wear it. I will only be bold with Benedick for his company, for from the crown of his head to the sole of his foot he's all mirth. He hath twice or thrice cut Cupid's bowstring, and the little hangman dare not shoot at him. He hath a heart to sound as a bell, and his tongue is the clapper, for what his heart thinks, his tongue speaks.
Silence, I'm not as I've been.
So say I methinks you are sadder.
I hope you be in love.
Hang him, truant! There is no true drop of blood in him to be truly touched with love. If he be sad, he wants money.
I have the toothache.
Draw it.
Hang it.
You must hang it first and draw it afterwards.
What, sigh for the toothache?
whereas but a humor or a worm.
Well, everyone can master grief, but thee that hasn't.
Yet say I, he is in love.
There's no appearance of fancy in him, unless it be a fancy that he hath to strange disguises, as to be a Dutchman today, a Frenchman tomorrow, or in the shape of two countries at once, as a German from the waist downward, all slopes, and a Spaniard from the hip upward, no doublet. Unless he have a fancy for this foolery, as it appears he hath, he's no fool for fancy, as he would have it appear he is.
If he be not in love with some woman, and there's no believing old signs, a breast is his hat o' mornings, what should that bode?
Hath any man seen him at the barber?
No, but the barber's man hath been seen with him, and the old ornament of his cheek hath already stuffed tennis balls.
Indeed, he looks younger than he did, by the loss of a beard.
Nay, rubs himself with a civet. Can you smell him out by that?
That's as much to say, the sweet youth's in love.
The greatest note of it is his melancholy.
When was he wont to wash his face?
Yea, or to paint himself, for the which I hear they say of him.
Nay, but his jesting spirit, which is now crept into a lute string, and now governed by stops.
Indeed, that tells a heavy tale for him. Conclude he is in love.
Nay, but I know who loves him.
That would I know too. I warrant one that knows him not.
Yes, and his ill conditions, and in despite of all, dies for him.
She shall be buried with her face upwards.
Yet it is no charm for the toothache. Old senor, walk aside with me. I've studied 8 or 9 words to speak to you. These hobby horses must not hear.
For my life to break with him about Beatrice.
'Tis even so. Hero and Margaret have, by this part, played their parts with Beatrice, and then the two bears will not bite each other once they meet.
My lord and brother, God save you.
Good done, brother.
If your leisure served, I would speak with you.
In private?
If it please you. Yet Count Claudio may hear, for what I would speak of concerns him.
What's the matter?
Means your lordship to be married tomorrow.
You know he does.
I know not that, when he knows what I know.
If there be any impediment, I pray you discover it.
You may think I love you not. Let that appear hereafter, and aim better at me, by that I now will manifest. For my brother, I think he holds you well, and in dearness of heart hath hope to effect your ensuing marriage. Surely suit ill spent, and
Why,
labor.
what's the matter? What's the matter?
I came hither to tell you, and circumstances shorten, for she has been too long a talking of. The lady is disloyal.
Who, Hero?
Even she, Leonato's hero, your hero, every man's hero.
Disloyal?
The word is too good to paint out her wickedness. I could say she were worse. Think you of a worse title, and I will fit her to it. Wonder not till further warrant. Go but with me tonight. You shall see her chamber window entered, even the night before her wedding day. If you love her then, tomorrow wed her. But it would better fit your honor to change your mind.
May this be so?
I will not think it.
If you dare not trust that you see, confess not that you know. If you will follow me, I will show you enough. And when you have seen more and heard more, proceed accordingly.
If I see anything tonight, why I should not marry her tomorrow in the congregation. Where I should wed, there I will shame her.
And as I wooed her for thee to obtain, I will join with thee to disgrace her.
I will disparage her no farther till you are my witnesses. Bear it coldly but till midnight, and let the issue show itself.
O day untowardly turned.
O mischief strangely thwarting.
O plague right well prevented. So you shall say when you have seen the sequel.
Hero!
Are you good men and true? Yea, or else it were pity but they should suffer salvation, body and soul. Nay, that were a punishment too good for them, if they should have any allegiance in them, being chosen for the prince's watch. Well, give them their charge, neighbor Dogberry. First, who think you the most desertless man to be constable?
He won't cook, sir, or George Sequel, for they can write and read.
Come hither, neighbor Sequel. God hath blessed you with a good name. To be a well-favored man is the gift of fortune, but to write and read comes by nature. Both of which, Master Constable, you have. I know it would be your answer. Well, for a favor, sir, give God thanks, and make no boast of it. And for your reading and writing, let that appear when there is no need of such vanity. You are thought here to be the most senseless and fit man for the constable of the watch, therefore bear you the lantern. This is your charge. You shall comprehend all vigor men. You are to bid any man stand in the prince's name. How will I will not stand? Why then, take no note of him, but let him go, and presently call the rest of the watch together, and thank God you are rid of a knave.
He will not stand when he is bidden. He is none of the prince's subjects.
True, and they are to meddle with none but the prince's subjects. You shall also make no noise in the streets, for the watch to babble and to talk is most tolerable, and not to be endured.
We will rather sleep than talk. We know it belongs to a watch.
Why, you speak like an ancient and most quiet watchman, for I cannot see how sleeping should offend. Only have a care that your bills not be stolen. Well, you are to call at the alehouses and bid those that are drunk get them to bed.
How if they will not?
Why then, let them alone till they are sober. If they make you not then the better answer, you may say they are not the men you took them for.
Well, sir.
If you do meet a thief, you may suspect him, by virtue of your office, to be no true man. And for such kind of men, the less you meddle or make with them, why, the more is for your honesty.
If we know him to be a thief, shall we not lay hands on him?
Truly, by your office you may, but I think that touch pitch will be defiled. The most peaceable way for you, if you do take a thief, is to let him show self what he is and steal out of your company.
You have always been called a merciful man, partner.
Truly, I would not hang a dog by my will, much more a man who hath any honesty in him.
You hear a child cry in the night, you must call to the nurse and bid her still it. How if the nurse be asleep and will not hear us?
Why then, depart in peace, and let the child wake her for crying. So the ewe that will not hear her lamb when it bathes will never answer a calf when he bleats.
'Tis very true.
This is the end of the charge. You, constable, are to present the prince's own person. If you meet the prince in the night, you may stay him.
Nay, by our lady, that I think I cannot.
5 shillings to 1 ounce, with any man that knows the statutes, he may stay him. Marry, not without the prince be willing, for indeed the watch ought to offend no man, and it is offence to stay a man against his will.
By our lady, I think it be so.
Ha ha ha! Well, masters, good night. And there be any of matters weight chances, call me up. Keep your fellows' counsels and your own, and good night. Come, neighbor.
Well, masters, we hear our charge. Let us go sit here upon the church bench till 2, and then all to bed.
1 word more, honest neighbors. I pray you watch around Signor Leonato's door. For the wedding being there tomorrow, there's a great coil tonight. Adieu, be vigilant, I beseech you.
What, Conrad?
Peace, stir not.
Conrad, I say.
Here, man, I'm at thy elbow.
Master, my elbow itched. I thought there would a scab follow.
I'll loathe thee an answer for that. No, forward with thy tip.
Stand me close, and then under this penthouse, for it drizzles rain, and I will like a true drunkard utter all to thee.
Some treason, masters, yet stand close.
Therefore I know I have earned of Don 1,000 ducats.
Is it possible that any villainy should be so dear?
Thou shouldst rather ask if it were any possible for any villain to be so rich. For when rich villains have need of poor ones may make what price they will.
I wonder at it.
Thou shows out thou unconfirmed. Thou knowest that the fashion of a doublet or a hat or a cloak is nothing to a man.
Yes, it is apparel.
I mean the fashion.
Yes, the fashion is the fashion.
I will say the fool's the fool. But seest thou not the deformed thief this fashion is?
I know that deformed has been a vile thief this 7 years ago. It goes up and down like a gentleman. I remember his name.
Didst thou not hear somebody?
No, 'twas the veil in the house.
Seest thou not? I say what a deformed thief this fashion is. How giddily it turns all about the hot bloods between 14 and 35, sometimes fashioning them like Pharaoh's soldiers in the Rigi painting, sometime like our bells in the priest in the old church window, sometime like the shaven Hercules in the smirched worm-eaten tapestry, where his codpiece seems as massy as his club.
All this I see, and I see that the fashion wears out more apparel than the man. But art not thou thyself giddy with the fashion too, that thou hast shifted out of thy tale into telling me of the fashion?
Not so neither. But no, I have tonight wooed Margaret, the Lady Hero's gentlewoman, by the name of Hero. She leans me out at her mistress's chamber window and bids me 1,000 times good night. I tell this tale vilely. That I should first tell how the Prince Claudio and my master, planted and placed and possessed by my master Don John, saw far off in the orchard in this amiable encounter.
I thought that Margaret was Hero.
All of them did, the Prince and Claudio, but the devil my master knew she was Margaret, and partly by his oaths which first possessed them, partly by the dark night which did deceive them, but chiefly by my villainy, which did confirm any slander about Don John had made. Away went Claudio enraged, swore he would meet her, as he was appointed next morning at the temple, and there before the whole congregation shame her with what he saw overnight and send her home without a husband.
We charge you in the prince's name. Stand!
Call up the right master constable. We have here recovered the most dangerous piece of lechery that was ever known in the Commonwealth.
He wears a lock.
Masters.
You'll be made refrain deformed forth, I warned you.
We charge you, let us obey you to go with us.
We are like to prove a goodly commodity being taken up these men's bills.
A commodity in question. I warrant you. Come. We'll obey you.
Good, Ursula. Wake my cousin Beatrice and desire her to rise.
I will, lady.
And bid her come hither.
Well.
Troth, I think your other rabato were better.
No, I pray thee, good Meg, I'll wear this.
But my troth's not so good, and I warrant your cousin will say so.
My cousin's a fool, and thou art another. I'll wear none but this.
I like the new tire within excellently. If the hair were a thought browner and your gown's a most rare fashion, I faith. I saw the Duchess of Milan's gown that they praise so.
Oh, that exceeds, they say.
By my troth's but a nightgown in respect of yours. Cloth o' golden cuts and laced with silver, set with pearls down sleeves, side sleeves, and skirts, round underborne with a bluish tinsel. But for a fine, quaint, graceful, and excellent fashion, yours is worth 10 on't.
God give me joy to wear it, for my heart is exceedingly heavy.
'Twill be heavier soon by the weight of a man.
Fie upon thee! Art thou not ashamed?
Of what, lady? Of speaking honorably? Is not marriage honorable in a beggar? Is not your lord honorable without marriage? I think you would have me saying, saving your reverence a husband, and bad thinking do not rest true speaking. I'll offend nobody. Is there any harm in the heavier for a husband? None, I think, and it be the right husband and the right wife. Otherwise, 'tis light and not heavy. Ask my lady Beatrice else. Here she comes.
Good morrow, coz.
Good morrow, sweet hero.
Why, how now? Do you speak in the sick tune?
I'm out of all other tune, methinks.
Clap sing to light, O love, that goes without a burden. Do you sing it, and I'll dance it.
Ye light of love with your heels. Then if your husband have stables enough, you'll see he shall lack no barns.
Oh, illegitimate construction, I scorn that with my heels.
'Tis almost 5 o'clock, cousin, 'tis time you were ready. By my troth, I'm exceeding ill. Hi-ho.
For a hawk, a horse, or a husband?
For the letter that begins them all, H.
Well, and you not be turned Turk, there's no more sailing by the star.
What means the fool, trow?
Nothing I, but God send everyone their heart's desire.
These gloves the Count sent me, they are an excellent perfume.
I'm stuffed, cousin, I cannot smell.
A maid and stuffed? There's goodly catching of cold.
Oh, God help me, God help me! How long have you professed apprehension?
Ever since you left it. Doth not my wit become me rarely?
It is not seen enough. You should wear it in your cap. By my troth, I am sick.
Get you some of this distilled Cardus Benedictus, and lay it to your heart. It is the only thing for a qualm.
There, thou prick'st her with a thistle.
Benedictus? Why Benedictus? You have some moral in this Benedictus.
Moral? No, by my troth, I have no moral meaning. I meant plain holy thistle. You may think perchance that I think you are in love. Nay, by Our Lady, I am not such a fool to think what I list, nor I list not to think what I can, nor indeed I cannot think, if I were to think my heart out of thinking, that you are in love, or that you will be in love, or that you can be in love. Yet Benedict was such another, and now he has become a man. He swore he would never marry, and yet now, in despite of his heart, he eats his meat without grudging. And how you may be converted, I know not, but methinks you look with your eyes as other women do.
What pace is that thy tongue keeps?
Not a false gallop.
Madam, withdraw. The prince, the count, Signor Benedict, Don John, and all the gallants of town come to fetch you to church.
Help to dress me, good Meg, good cuz, good Ursula.
What would you with me, honest neighbor?
Marry, sir, I would have some confidence with you that discerns you nearly.
Brief, I pray you, for you see it is a busy time with me.
Marry, this it is, sir.
Yes, in truth it is, sir.
What is it, good friends?
Good man Verges, sir, speaks a little off the matter. An old man, sir, and his wits are not so as blunt as, God help, I desire they were, but in faith honest as the skin between his brows.
Yes, I think God I am as honest as any man living that is an old man and no honester than I.
Comparisons are odorous. Palabras, neighbor Verges.
Neighbors, you are tedious.
It pleases your worship to say so, but we are the poor duke's officers. But truly, for mine own part, if I were as tedious as a king, I can find it in my heart to bestow it all upon your worship.
All thy tediousness on me.
Yea, and 'twere it 1,000 pound more than it is, for I hear as good exclamation on your worship as of any man in the city, and though but I be a poor man, I'm glad to hear it.
And so am I.
I would fain know what you have to say.
Marry, sir, our watch tonight, accepting your worship's presence, had taken a couple of errant knaves as any in Messina.
A good old man, sir. He will be talking, as they say, when the age is out, the wit is out. God help us, it is a world to see. Well said, in faith, neighbor Verges. Well, God's good man, and 2 men ride of a horse, 1 must ride behind. An honest soul, in faith, sir, by my troth he is, as ever broke bread. But God is to be worshipped. All men are not alike. Alas, good neighbor.
Indeed, neighbor, he comes too short of you.
Gift that God gives.
I must leave you.
One word, sir. Our watch, sir, have indeed comprehended 2 auspicious persons, and we would have them this morning examined before your worship.
Take their examination yourself and bring it to me. I am now in great haste, as it may appear unto you.
It shall be suffrages.
Drink some wine ere you go. Fare you well.
Go, good partner, go. Get you to Francis Seacole. Bid him bring his pen and inkhorn to the jail. We are now to examination these men. We must do it wisely. We will spare for no wit, I warrant you. Here's that shall drive some of them to a non-come. Only get the learned writer to set down our excommunication and meet me at the jail.
Come, Friar Francis, be brief. Only to the plain form of marriage, and we shall recount their particular duties afterwards.
You come hither, my lord, to marry this lady.
No.
To be married to her, friar. You come to marry her.
Lady, you come hither to be married to this count.
I do.
If either of you know any inward impediment why you should not be conjoined, charge you on your souls to utter it.
Know you any, hero?
None, my lord.
Know you any, count?
I dare make his answer. None.
No, what men dare do, what men may do, what men daily do, not knowing what they do.
Now, interjections, why then some be of laughing, as ah he.
Stand thee by, friar. Father, by your leave, will you with free and unconstrained soul give me this maid, your daughter?
As freely, son, as God did give her me.
And what have I to give you back, whose worth may counterpoise this rich and precious gift?
Nothing, unless you do render her again.
Sweet prince, you learn me noble thankfulness. There, Leonato, take her back again. Give not this rotten orange to your friend. She's but a sign and semblance of her honor. Behold how, like a maid, she blushes here. Oh, what authority and show of truth can cunning sin cover itself withal? Comes not that blood as modest evidence to witness simple virtue? Would you not swear that all that you see her here, that she were a maid by these exterior shows? But she is none. She knows the heat of a luxurious bed. Her blush is guiltiness, not modesty.
What do you mean?
Not to be married, not to knit my soul to an approved wanton.
Dear my lord, in your own proof, have vanquished the resistance of her youth and made defeat of her virginity.
I know what you would say. If I had known her, you will say that she did embrace me as a husband, and so accentuate the forehand sin. No, Leonato, I never tempted her with a word too large, but as a brother to his sister, showed bashful sincerity and comely love.
And seemed I ever otherwise to you?
Out on thee, seeming. I will write against it. You seem to me as Diane to her orb, as chaste as is the bud ere it be blown. But you're more intemperate in your blood than Venus, for those pampered animals that rage in savage sensuality.
Is my lord well that he doth speak so wide?
Sweet prince, why not speak you?
What should I speak? I stand dishonored that have gone about to link my dear friend to a common stale.
Are these things spoken, or do I but dream?
They are spoken, and these things are true.
True, oh God!
Leonato, stand I here? Is this the prince? Is this the prince's brother? Is this face heroes? Are our eyes our own?
All this is so, but what of this, my lord?
Let me but move one question to your daughter, and by that fatherly and kindly power that you have in her, bid her answer truly.
I charge thee do so, as thou art my child.
Oh God, defend me! How am I beset? What kind of catechizing call you this?
To make you answer truly to your name.
Is it not Hero? Who can blot that name with any just reproach?
Marry, that can Hero. Hero itself can blot out Hero's virtue. What man was it? He talked with you yesternight out your window betwixt 12 and 1. Now, if you're a maid, answer to this.
I talked with no man at that hour, my lord.
Why, then you are no maiden. Leonato, I am sorry you must hear. Upon mine honor, myself, my brother, and this grieved count did see her, hear her, at that hour last night, talk with a ruffian at her chamber window, who hath indeed most like a liberal villain confessed the vile encounters they have had 1,000 times in secret.
Fie. They are not to be named, my lord, not to be spoke of. There is not chastity enough in language without offense to utter them. Thus, pretty lady, I am sorry for thy much misgovernment.
Oh, hero. What a hero hadst thou been, if half thy outward graces had placed about thy thoughts and counsels of thy heart. But fare thee well, most foul, most fair, farewell, thou pure impiety and impious purity. Thee I'll up all the gates of love, and on my eyelids shall conjecture hang, to turn all beauty into thoughts of harm, and never shall it be more gracious.
Hath no man's dagger here a point for me?
Why, how now, cousin? Wherefore sink you down?
Come, let us go. These things come thus to light, smother her spirits up.
How doth the lady?
Dead, I think. Help, uncle! Hero, why, hero! Uncle, Signor Benedict Friar!
O fate, take not away thy heavy hand. Death is the fairest cover for her shame that may be wished for.
How now, hero?
Have comfort, lady.
Dost thou look up?
Yea, wherefore should she not?
Wherefore? Why doth not every earthly thing cry shame upon her? How could she here deny the story that is printed in her blood? Do not live, hero. Do not open thy eyes. For did I think thou would not quickly die, thought I thy spirits were stronger than thy shames, myself would on the rear end of reproaches strike at thy life, grieve and I had but one, should I for frugal nature's frame? Oh, one too much by thee. Why had I one? Why ever wast thou lovely in my eyes? Why had I not charitable hands took up a beggar's issue at my gates, who smirched and thus mirrored with infamy? I might have said, no, part of this is mine. This shame derives itself from unknown loins, but mine, and loved and mine, I praised and mine, that I was proud on. Mine so much that I myself was not mine, valuing of her. Why, she, oh, fallen into a pit of ink that the wide sea hath dropped too few to wash her clean again, and salt which May gave season to her foul, tainted flesh.
Sir, be patient. I too am so attired in wonder, I know not what to say.
Oh, on my soul, my cousin is belied.
Lady, were you her bedfellow last night?
No, truly not. Although until last night I have this 12-month been her bedfellow.
Confirmed. Oh, that is stronger maid which was before barred up with ribs of iron. Would the two princes lie and Claudio lie, who loved her so that speaking of her foulness, washed it with tears? Hence from her. Let her die.
Hear me little, for I have been silent so long, and given way unto this course of fortune. By noting the lady, I have marked 1,000 blushing apparitions to start into her face, 1,000 innocent shames, and angel whiteness beat away those blushes. And in her eye there hath appeared a fire, to burn the errors that these princes hold against her maiden truth. Call me a fool, trust not my reading, nor my observations, which with experimental seal doth warrant my tenor of my book. Trust not my age, my reverence, calling, nor divinity, if this sweet lady lie not guiltiness here under some biting error.
Friar, it cannot be. Thou seest that all grace that she hath left, is she not will add to her damnation? A seek of perjury, she not denies it. Why seekest thou then to cover up with excuse that which appears in proper nakedness?
Lady, what man is he you are accused of?
I know that to accuse me, I know none. If I know more of any man alive than that which maiden modesty doth warrant, let all my sins lack mercy. Oh, my father, prove that any man with me conversed at hours unmeet, or that yesternight maintained the change of words with any creature, refuse me, hate me, torture me to death.
There is some strange misprision in the princes.
2 of them have the very bent of honor, and if their wisdom be misled in this, the practice of it lives in John the Bastard, whose spirits toil in the frames of villains.
I know not. If they speak but truth of her, these hands shall tear her. If they wrong her honor, the proudest of them shall well hear it. Time hath not yet so dried this blood of mine, nor age so eat up my invention, nor fortune made such havoc of my means, nor my bad life reft me so much of friends. But they shall find, awakened in such kind, both strength and limb, and policy of mind, ability in means and choice of friends, to quit me of them thoroughly.
Pause a while, and let my counsel sway you in this case. Your daughter here the princes left for dead. Let her a while be secretly kept in, and publish that she is dead indeed. Maintain a mourning ostentation, and on your family's old monument hang mournful epitaphs and all due rites that appertain unto a burial.
What shall become of this? What will this do?
Marry, this will carry it on, shall on her behalf change slander to remorse, that is some good. But not for that dream I on this strange course, but this travail look for great birth. She dying, as it must so be maintained, upon the instant that she was accused, shall be lamented, pitied, and excused of every hearer. For it so falls out that we prize not the worth, whiles we enjoy it, but being lacked and lost, why then we rack the value, then we find the virtue that possession will not show us whiles it is ours. So it will fare with Claudio, when he shall hear she died upon his words. The idea of her shall sweetly creep into his study of his imagination, and every lovely organ of her life shall come apparelled in one more precious habit. More moving, delicate, and full of life into the eye and prospect of his soul, than when she lived indeed. Then shall he mourn, if he ever love had interest in his liver, and wish he had not so accused her. No, though he thought his accusations true, let this be so, and doubt not success will fashion the event in better shape than I can lay it down in likelihood. But if all aim bet this be levelled false, the supposition of the lady's death will quench the wonder of her infamy, and in sort not well you may conceal her, as best befits her wounded reputation. If some reclusive and religious life, out of all eyes, tongues, minds, and injuries.
Signor Leonato, let the friars rise you. And though you know my inwardness and love is very much unto the Prince and Claudio, yet by mine honor I will deal in this as secretly and justly as your soul should with your body.
Seeing that I flow in grief, must find me, lead me.
'Tis well consented, presently away, for to strange sores strangely they strain the cure. Come, lady, die to live. This wedding day perhaps is but prolonged. Have patience and endure.
Lady Beatrice, have you wept all this while?
Yea, and I will weep a while longer.
I will not desire that.
You've no reason. I do it freely.
Surely I do believe your fair cousin is wronged.
Ah, how might the man deserve of me that would right her?
Is there any way to show such friendship?
A very even way, but no such friend.
May a man do it?
It is man's office, but not yours.
I do love nothing in the world as well as you. Is not that strange?
As strange as a thing I know not. It were as possible for me to say I love nothing so well as you. But believe me not, and yet I lie not. I confess nothing nor I deny nothing. I'm sorry for my cousin.
My sword, Beatrice, thou'st love me?
Do not swear and eat it.
I will swear by it that you love me. and I'll make him eat it that says I love you not,
Will you not eat your word?
with no sauce that can be devised to it. I protest I love thee.
Why then God forgive me.
What offense, sweet Beatrice?
You stayed me at a happy hour. I was about to protest I loved you.
Do it with all thy heart.
I love you with so much of my heart that none is left to protest.
Come, bid me do anything for thee.
Kill Claudio.
Not for the wide world.
Kill me to deny it. Farewell.
Tarry, sweet Beatrice.
I am gone, though I am here. There is no love in you. Nay, I pray you, let me go.
Beatrice,
In faith, I will go.
we'll be friends first.
You dare easier be friends with me than fight with mine enemy.
Is Claudio thine enemy?
Is he not approved in the height of a villain that hath slandered, scorned, dishonored my kinswoman? Oh, that I were a man! What bear her in hand until they come to take hands, and then with public accusation, uncovered slander, unmitigated rancor. Oh God, that I were a man! I would eat his heart at the marketplace.
Hear me, Beatrice.
Talk with a man at a window, a proper saying.
Nay, but Beatrice.
Sweet hero, she is wronged, she is slandered, she is undone.
Beatrice.
Princes and counties! Surely a princely testimony, a goodly Count Comfect, a sweet gallant, surely. Oh, that I were a man for his sake, or that any friend would be a man for my sake. But manhood is melted into courtesies, valor into compliment, and men are only turned into tongue, and trim ones too. He is now as valiant as Hercules that only tells a lie and swears it. I cannot be a man with wishing, therefore I will die a woman with grieving.
Very good Beatrice. By this hand I love thee.
Use it for my love some other way than swearing by it.
Think you in your soul the Count Claudio hath wronged Hero?
Yea, as sure as I have a thought or a soul.
Enough. I am engaged. I will challenge him. I will kiss your hand, and so I leave you. By this hand, Claudio shall render me a dear account. As you hear of me, so think of me. Go, comfort your cousin. I must say she is dead. And so, farewell.
Our whole assembly appeared,
Oh, and a stool and cushion for the sexton.
which be the malefactors. Murray, that am I and my partner.
Nay, that's certain. We have the exhibition to examine.
But which are the offenders that will be examined? Let them come before Master Constable. Yea, Mary, let them come before me. What is your name, friend?
Baraccio.
Pray, write down, Baraccio. Yours, Sirrah.
I am a gentleman, sir. My name is Conrad.
Write down, Master Gentleman Conrad. Gentlemen, do you serve God?
Yea, sir. We hope.
Write down that they hope that they serve God, and write God first, but God should go first before such villains. Masters, it is proved already that you are little more than false knaves, and it will go near to be thought so shortly. How answer you for yourselves?
Marry, sir, we say we are none.
A marvelously witty fellow, I assure you, but I will go about with him. Come you hither, sirrah, a word in your ear. Sir, I say to you, it is thought that you are false knaves.
Sir, I say to you, we are none.
Well, stand aside, for God, they are both in a tale. Have you written down that they are none? Master Constable, you go not the way to examine. You must call forth the watch that are their accusers. Yea, Mary, that's the eftest way. Let the watch come forth. Masters, I charge you, in the prince's name, accuse these men.
This man, sir, said that Don John, the prince's brother, was a villain.
Why, this is flat perjury to call a prince's brother villain.
Master Constable.
Pray thee, fellow, peace. I do not like thy look, I promise thee. What heard you him say else?
Married that he had received 1,000 ducats of Don John for accusing the lady hero wrongfully.
flat burglary was ever was committed.
Yea, by mass, that it is.
O villain that will be condemned into everlasting redemption for this.
And this is more, masters, than you can deny. Prince John in this morning was secretly stolen away. Hero was in this manner accused, in this very manner refused, and upon the grief of this, suddenly died. Master Constable, let these men be bound and brought to Leonato's. I will go before him and show them their examination.
Off, coxcomb!
God's my life! Where's the sexton? Let him write down the prince's officer, coxcomb. Come then, bind them, thou naughty varlet.
The what? You are an ours. You are an ours.
Dost thou not suspect my place? Dost thou not suspect my years? Oh, that you were here to write me down in ours. But masters, remember that I am an ours, though it not be written down, yet forget that I am an ours. No, villain, thou art full of piety, shall be proved upon thee by good witness. I'm a wise fellow, what is more, an officer, and what is more, a householder, and what is more, as pretty a piece of flesh as any in Messina, and one that knows the law, go to, and a rich fellow enough, go to, and a fellow that has had losses, and one that has 2 gowns, and everything handsome about him. Bring him away. Oh, that I had been written down in arse.
If you go on thus, you will kill yourself, and 'tis not wisdom thus to second grief against yourself.
I pray thee, cease thy counsel, which falls into mine ears as profitless as water in a sieve. Give not me counsel, nor let no comforter delight mine ear, but such a one whose wrongs do suit with mine. Bring me a father that so loved his child, whose joy of hurt is overwhelmed like mine, and bid him speak of patience. Measure his woe and length and breadth of mine, and let it answer every strain for strain. And thus for thus, and such grief for such, every lineament, branch, shape, and form. If one will smile and stroke his beard, bid sorrow wag, cry hem when he should groan, patch grief with proverbs, make misfortune drunk with candle wasters, bring him yet to me, and I will gather patience. There is no such man. Brother, men can counsel and speak for comfort to that grief, which they themselves cannot feel, but hasting it. Their counsel turns to passion, which before would give precipital in a silken thread, charm ache with air and agony with words. Oh no, 'tis all man's office to speak patience to those that wring under the load of sorrow. No man's virtue nor sufficiency to be so moral when he shall endure to like himself. Therefore, give me no counsel. Pray louder than advertised.
Therein do men from children nothing differ.
I pray thee, peace. I will be flesh and blood, for there was never yet a philosopher that could endure the toothache patiently. However, they have writ the style of gods, like a push and chance and sufferance.
Yet bend not all the harm upon yourself. Make those that do offend you suffer too.
Ere thou speakest reason, nay, I will do so. My soul doth tell me that Hero is belied, and that shall Claudio know, so shall the prince, and all of them that thus dishonor her.
Here comes the prince and Claudio hastily.
Good den, good den.
Good day to both of you.
Hear you, my lords.
We have some haste, Leonato.
Some haste, my lord! Well, fare you well, my lord. Are you so hasty now? Well, all is one.
Nay, do not quarrel with us, good old man.
If he could right himself with quarreling, some of us would lie low.
Who wrongs him?
Mary, thou dost wrong me, though dissembler, thou... Nay, never lay thy hand upon thy sword.
Harry, beshrew my hand. If it should give your age such cause of fear, in faith, my hand meant nothing to my sword.
Tush, tush, man. Never fleer and jest at me. I speak not like a dotard nor a fool. As under privilege of age to brag, what I have done, being young, or what would do were I not old. No, Claudio, to thy hand thou hast so wronged me of mine innocent child, and me that I am forced to lay with my reverence, and with gray hairs and bruise of many days do challenge thee a trial of man. Thy innocent slander do challenge thee to trial of man. I say thou hast belied mine innocent child. Thy slander hath gone through and through her heart, and she is buried with her ancestors. Oh, in a tomb which never scandal slept. Save this of hers, framed by thy villainy.
My villainy?
Thine, Claudio. Thine, I say.
You say not right, old man.
My lord, my lord. I'll prove it on his body, if he dare. Despite this nice fence and active practice, his may of youth and the bloom of lustihood.
Away, I will not have to do with you.
Canst thou so gaff me? Thou hast killed mine child. If thou killst me, boy, thou shalt kill another man.
He shall kill two of us, and men indeed. But that's no matter. Let him kill one first. Win me and wear me. Let him answer me. Come, follow me, boy. Come. Sir boy, come follow me. Sir boy, I'll whip you from your foining fence. Nay, as I am a gentleman, I will.
Brother.
Content yourself. God knows I loved my niece, and she is dead, slandered to death by villains that dare as well answer a man indeed as I dare take a serpent by the tongue. Boys, apes, braggarts, jacks, milksops.
Brother Antony.
Hold your content. What, man? I know them, yeah. And what they weigh, even to the utmost scruple. Scrambling, outfacing, fashion-mongering boys that lie and cog and flout, deprave and slander, go antically, show outward hideousness, and speak off half a dozen dangerous words. How they might hurt their enemies, if they durst, and this is all.
But, Brother Antonio.
Come, 'tis no matter. Do not you meddle, let me deal in this.
Gentlemen both, we will not wake your patience. My heart is sorry for your daughter's death, but on mine honor she was charged with nothing but what was true and very full of proof.
Oh, Lord, my lord.
I will not hear you.
No? Come, brother, away. I will be heard.
And shall, or some of us will smart for it.
See, here comes the man we want to seek.
Now, Signor, what news?
Good day, my lord.
Welcome, Signor. You are almost come to the part almost affray.
We'd like to have our two noses snapped off like two old men without teeth.
Leonardo and his brother. What thinkest thou? Had we fought, I doubt we should have been too young for him.
In a false quarrel, there is no true valor. I came to seek you both.
We've been up and down to seek thee, for we are high-proof melancholy and would fain it have beaten away. Wilt thou use thy wit?
It is in my scabbard. Shall I draw it?
Dost thou wear wit by thy side?
Never any did so, though very many have been beside their wit. I will bid thee draw, and as we do the minstrels, draw to pleasure us.
As I am an honest man, he looks pale. Art thou sick or angry?
What courage, man! But thou care killed the cat. Thou hast mettle enough in thee to kill care.
Sir, I shall meet your wit in the career, and you charge it against me. I pray you choose another subject.
Nay, then give him another staff. This last was broke cross.
By this light he changes more and more. I think he be angry indeed.
If he be, he knows how to turn his girdle.
Shall I speak a word in your ear?
God bless me from a challenge.
You are a villain. I jest not. I'll make it good how you dare, and with what you dare, and when you dare. Do me right, or I will protest your cowardice. You have killed a sweet lady, and her death shall fall heavy on you. Let me hear from you.
Well, I will meet you, so I may have good cheer.
What? A feast, a feast.
Faith, I thank him. He hath bid me to a calf's head and a capon, to which, if I do not carve most curiously, save my knife's not. Shall I not find a woodcock too?
Sir, your wit ambles well. It goes easily.
I'll tell thee how Beatrice praised thy wit the other day. I said thou hadst a fine wit. True, she said, a fine little one. No, I said, a great wit. Right, she says, a great gross one. Nay, I say, a good wit. Just, she says, it hurts nobody. Nay, I say, the gentleman is wise. Certain, said she, a wise gentleman. Nay, I said, he hath tongues. That I believe, and she, for he swore a thing to me on Monday night, which he forswore on Tuesday morning. There's a double tongue, and there's two tongues. Thus did she, an hour together, transhape thy particular virtues, yet at last she concluded with a sigh, thou wast the properest man in Italy.
For the which she wept heartily, and said she cared not.
Yea, that she did, but yet for all that, and if she did not hate him deadly, she would love him dearly. The old man's daughter told us all.
All, and moreover, God saw him when he was hid in the garden.
But when shall we set the savage bull's horn on the sensible Benedict's head?
Yea, and text underneath, here dwells Benedict, the married man.
Fare you well, boy. You know my mind. I will leave you now to your gossip-like humor. You break jests as braggarts do their blades, which, God be thanked, hurt not. My lord, for your many courtesies I thank you. I must discontinue your company. Your brother the bastard is fled from Messina. You have among you killed a sweet and innocent lady. For my lord Lackbeard there, he and I shall meet. Till then, peace be with him.
He is in earnest.
In most profound earnest, and I'll warrant you, for the love of Beatrice.
And hath challenged thee.
Most sincerely.
What a pretty thing man is when he goes doublet and hoses leaves off his wit.
He is then a giant to an ape, but then is an ape to a doctor to such man.
But soft you, let me be. Pluck up my heart and be sad. Did he not say my brother was fled?
Come you, sir, if justice cannot tame you, she'll never weigh more reasons in her balance. Nay, and you'll be a cursing hypocrite once you must be looked to.
How now? Two of my brother's men bound. Baraccia one.
Hearken after their offense, my lord.
Officers, what offense have these men done?
Marry, sir, they have committed false report. Moreover, they have spoken untruths. And secondarily, they are slanders. Sixth, and lastly, they have belied a lady. Thirdly, they have verified unjust things. And to conclude, they are lying knaves.
First, I ask thee what they have done. Thirdly, I ask thee what's their offense. Sixth, and lastly, why they are committed. And to conclude, what lay you their charge?
Rightly reasoned, and in his own division. And by my troth, there's one meaning well suited.
Who have you offended, masters, that you are thus bound to your answer? This learned constable is too cunning to be understood. What's your offense?
Sweet prince, let me go no farther to mine answer. Do you hear me, and let this count kill me? I have deceived even your very eyes. What your wisdoms could not discover, these shallow fools have brought to light. When the night overheard me confessing to this man how Don John, your brother, incensed me to slander the lady Hero. How you were brought into the orchard and saw me court Margaret in Hero's garments, how you disgraced her when you should marry her. My villainy they have upon record, which I shall rather seal with my death than repeat over to my shame. The lady is dead upon mine in my master's false accusation, and briefly I desire nothing but the reward of a villain.
Runs not this speech like iron through your blood?
I have drunk poison while he uttered it.
But did my brother set thee on to this?
Yea, and paid me richly for the practice of it.
He is confirmed and framed of treachery, and fled upon his villainy.
Sweet hero, now thy image doth appear in rare semblance that I loved at first.
Come, bring away the plaintiffs. By this time our sexton hath reformed Signor Leonato of the matter. And masters, do not forget to specify when time and place thou serve, that I am an arse.
Here comes Master Signor Leonato and the sexton too.
Which is the villain? Let me see his eyes. That when I know another man like him, I may avoid him. Which of these is he?
If you would know your wronger, look on me.
Art thou the slave that with thy breath hast killed mine innocent child?
Yea, even I alone.
No, not so, villain. Thou beliest thyself. Here stand a pair of honorable men. A third is fled that had hand in it. I thank you, princes, for my daughter's death. Record it with your high and worthy deeds. 'Twas bravely done if you bethink of it.
I know not how to pray your patience, yet I must speak. Choose your revenge yourself. Impose me to what penance your invention can lay upon my sin. Yet I sin not, but in mistaking.
By my soul, nor I. And yet to satisfy this good old man, I would bend under any heavy weight that he'll enjoin me to.
I cannot bid you bid my daughter live. That were impossible, but I pray you both. Possess the people in Messina here, how innocent she died, if your love can labor on in sad invention. Hang upon her epitaph, upon her tomb, and sing it to her bones. Sing it tonight. Tomorrow morning come you to my house, and since you could not be my son-in-law, be yet my nephew. My brother hath a daughter, almost a copy of my child that is dead, and she alone is the heir to both of us. Give her the right you should give her cousin, and so dies my revenge.
Oh, noble sir, your overkindness doth wring tears from me. I do embrace your offer and dispose for henceforth of poor Claudio.
Tomorrow, then, I will expect your coming. Tonight, I take my leave. This naughty man shall face to be brought to Margaret, who I believe was packed in all this wrong, hired to it by your brother.
No, by my soul, she was not, nor knew not what she did when she spoke to me, but always hath been just and virtuous. In anything I do know by her.
Moreover, sir, which is not under white and black, this plaintiff here, the offender, did call me arse. I beseech you, let it be remembered in this punishment. And also watch heard him talk of deformed, and they say wears a key in his ear and a lock by it. Oh, and borrows money in God's name, the which he has used so long and never paid. Ay, wow. Men grow hard-hearted and will lend nothing. For God's sake, I pray you examine him upon that point.
I thank thee for thy care and honest pains.
Your worship speaks like a most thankful and reverend youth. I praise God for you.
There's for thy pains.
God save the foundation.
Go. I discharge thee of thy prisoner, and I thank thee.
I leave an errant knave with your worship, which I beseech your worship to correct yourself for the example of others. God keep your worship. I wish your worship well. God restore you to health. I wish your worship health. I humbly give you my leave to depart, and if a merry meeting may be wished, God prohibit it. Come, neighbor.
Until tomorrow morning, lords, farewell.
Farewell, my lords. We look for you tomorrow.
We will not fail.
Tonight I'll mourn with Hero.
Bring you these fellows on. We'll talk with Margaret. How her acquaintance grew this lewd fellow.
Pray thee, sweet mistress Margaret, deserve well at my hands for helping me to speech of Beatrice.
Will you then write me a sonnet in praise of my beauty?
In so high a style, Margaret, that no man living shall come over it, for in most comely truth thou deserves it.
To have no man come over me? Why, shall I always keep below stairs?
My wit is as quick as a greyhound's mouth. It catches.
And yours as blunt as the fencer's foils, which hit but hurt not.
A most manly wit, Margaret. It will not hurt a woman. And so I pray thee, call Beatrice. I give thee the bucklers.
Give us the swords, we have bucklers of our own.
If you use them, Margaret, you must put in pikes with a vice, as they are dangerous weapons for maids.
Well, I will call Beatrice to you, who I think hath legs.
And therefore will come. The God of love that sits above and knows me, how pitiful I does. I mean singing, but in loving. Leander, the good swimmer, Troilus, the first employer of panders, and a whole bookful of these quondam carpet managers, whose names yet smoothly run evenly on a road of a blank verse. Why, they were never so truly turned over and over as my poor self in love. Marry, cannot show it in rhyme. I have tried. I can't find a rhyme out of rhyme to lady but baby, an innocent rhyme. For scorn and horn, a hard rhyme. For school and fool, a babbling rhyme. Very ominous endings. No, I was not born under a rhyming planet, nor I cannot woo in festival terms. Sweet Beatrice, would thou come when I called thee?
Yea, Signor, and depart when you bid me.
Oh, stay but till then.
Then it is spoken. Fare you well now, and yet, ere I go, let me go with that I came, which is with knowing what hath passed between you and Claudio.
Only foul words, and therefore I will kiss thee.
Foul words is but foul wind, and foul wind is but foul breath, and foul breath is noisome. Therefore I will depart unkissed.
Thou hast frightened the word out of its right sense, so forcible is thy wit. But I must tell thee plainly, Claudio undergoes my challenge, and either I must shortly hear from him, or I will subscribe him a coward. And I pray thee now, tell me for which of my bad parts did thou first fall in love with me?
For them all together, which maintain so politic a state of evil that they do not admit any good part to intermingle with them. But for which of my good parts did you first suffer love for me?
Suffer love, a good epithet. I do suffer love indeed. I love thee against my will.
In spite of your heart, I think. Alas, poor heart, if you spite it for my sake, I will spite it for yours, for I will never love that which my friend hates.
Thou and I are too wise to woo peaceably.
It appears not in this confession. There's not one wise man among 20 that will praise himself.
An old instance, Beatrice, that lived in the lime of his good neighbors. If a man do not erect an age tomb ere he dies, he shall live no longer in monument, and the bell rings and the widow weeps.
And how long is that, think you?
Question, why an hour in clamor, or a quarter in reum, therefore is most expedient for the wise. Dom worm, his conscience find no impediment to the contrary, to be his trumpet of his own virtues, as I am myself, so much of praising myself, who I myself will bear witness, is praiseworthy. And now tell me, how doth your cousin?
Very ill.
And how do you?
Very ill too.
Serve God, love me, and mend. There I will leave you too. For here comes one in haste.
Madam, you must come to your uncle. Yonder's old and coil at home. It is proved my lady Hero hath been falsely accused, the prince and Claudio mightily abused, and Don John is the author of all, who is fled and gone. Will you come presently?
Will you go hear this news, Signor?
Live in thy heart, die in thy lap, and be buried in thy eyes. And moreover, I will go with thee to thy uncle's.
Is this the monument of Leonato?
It is, my lord.
Done to death by slanderous tongues was the hero that here lies. Death in guerdon of her wrongs, gives her fame which never dies. So the life that died with shame lives in death with glorious fame. Hang thou there upon this tomb, praising her when I am dumb. Now, music, sound, and sing your solemn hymn.
Pardon, goddess of the night, those that slew thy virgin night. For the which with songs of woe round about her tomb they go. Midnight assist our moan, help us to sigh and groan, heavily, heavily. Graves yawn and yield your dead, till death be uttered, heavily, heavily.
Now unto thy bones good night. Yearly will I do this right.
Good morrow, masters. Put your torches out. The wolves have prayed, and look, the gentle day, before the wheels of Phoebus round about the dapples of the drowsy east with spots of grey. Thanks to you all, and leave us. Very well.
Tomorrow, masters, each his several way.
Come, let us hence, and put on other weeds, and then to Leonato's we will go.
Hymen now with luckier issue speeds than this for whom we rendered up this woe.
Did I not tell you she was innocent?
Oh, are the prince and Claudio who accused her upon the error that you debated. But Margaret was in some fault for this, although against her will, as it appears, in the true course of all this question.
Well, I am glad that all things sort so well.
So am I, being else by faith and force to call young Claudio to a reckoning forth.
Well, daughter, and all you gentlewomen all, withdraw into a chamber by yourselves, and when I send for you, come hither masked. The prince and Claudio promised by this hour to visit me. You know your office, brother. You must be father to your brother's daughter, and give her young
which I will do with confirmed counterance.
Right. I must entreat your pains.
To do what, senor?
Bind me, or undo me, one of them. Senor Leonato, truth it is, good senor, your niece regards me with an eye of favor.
That I my daughter lent her, 'tis most true.
And I do, with an eye of love, requite her.
The sight whereof I think you had from me, from Claudio and the prince, was your will.
Your answer, sir, is enigmatical, but for my will is your goodwill. May stand with ours. Let this day be conjoined in the state of honorable marriage, in which, good friar, I shall desire your help.
My heart is with your liking.
And my help. Here comes the prince and Claudio.
Good morrow to this fair assembly.
Good morrow, prince. Good morrow. Claudio, we here attend you. Are you yet determined to marry my brother's daughter?
I'll hold my mind, were she a gargoyle.
Call her forth, brother. Here's the friar ready.
Good morrow, Benedict. Why, what's the matter that you have such a February face, so full of frost, of storm and cloudiness?
I think he thinks upon the savage bull. Tush, fear not, man. We'll tip thy horns with gold, and all Europa shall rejoice at thee, as once Europa did at lusty Jove, when we would play the noble beast in love.
Bold Jove, sir, had an admirable moo, and some such strange bull leaped your father's cow, and got a calf that is the same noble feat, much like to you, for you have just his bleat.
For this I owe you. Here comes other reckonings. Which is the lady I must seize upon?
The same as she, and I do give you to her.
Why, then she's mine. Sweet, let me see your face.
Know that you shall not, till you take her hand before this friar and swear to marry her.
give me your hand. Before this holy friar, I am your husband, if you like of me.
When I lived, I was your other wife. And when you loved, you were my other husband.
Another hero.
Nothing certainer. One hero died defiled, but I do live, and as surely as I live, I am a maid.
The former hero that is dead.
She died, my lord, but whilst her slender lived.
All this amazement can I qualify, when after that holy rites are ended, I'll tell you largely of fair hero's death. Meantime, let wonder seem familiar, and to the chapel let us all presently.
Soft and fair friar. Which is Beatrice?
I answer to that name. What is your will?
Do not you love me?
Why, no. No more than reason.
Why then your uncle and the Princess and Claudio have been deceived. They swore you did.
Do not you love me?
Troth, no. No more than reason.
Why then my cousin, Margaret and Ursula, are much deceived, for they did swear you did.
They swore you were almost sick for me.
They swore you were well nigh dead for me.
'Tis no such matter. Then you do not love me?
No, truly, but in friendly recompense.
Come, cousin. I am sure you love the gentleman.
Now be sworn upon it that he loves her. For here's a paper written in his hand, a halting sonnet of his own pure brain, fashioned to Beatrice.
Here's another, writ in my cousin's hand, stolen from her pocket, containing her affection unto Benedick.
A miracle. Use our own hands against our hearts. Come, I will have thee. But by this light I take thee for pity.
I would not deny you, but by this good day I yield upon great persuasion, and partly to save your life, for I was told you were in a consumption.
Peace will stop your mouth.
How dost thou, Benedick, the married man?
I'll tell thee what, Prince. A college of witcrackers could not flout me out of my humor. Dost thou think I care for a satire or an epigram? No, if a man will be beaten, his brains shall wear nothing handsome about him. In brief, since I do propose to marry, I think nothing to any purpose the world can say against it, and therefore never flout me for what I have said against it. A man is a giddy thing, and this is my conclusion. For thy part, Claudio, I do think I have beaten thee, but thou art like to be my kinsman. Live unbruised and love my cousin.
I had well hoped thou that wouldst have denied Beatrice, that I might have cudgeled thee out of thy single life, make thee a double dealer, which, out of question, thou wilt be. My cousin do not look exceedingly narrowly to thee.
Come, we are friends. Let's have a dance ere we are married, that we may lighten our hearts with our wives' heels.
We'll have dancing afterward.
First is my word. Therefore, play music. Prince, thou art sad. Get thee a wife. Get thee a wife. There's no staff more revered than the one tipped with horn.
My lord, your brother John is taken in flight and brought with arms men back to Messina.
Think not on him till tomorrow. I'll devise the brave punishments for him. Strike up, pipers. Bye.